is Jinju at kimchimari.com. Today I'm going to share, as part of my Korean barbecue series, a very simple Korean dish, a Korean pork dish, and it's actually oven baked, so it's very simple to do. Also, it's very simple to make. And it's not an authentic or traditional recipe, so I don't have a Korean name to give you, but I'm going to call it oven baked Korean pork dish. It's actually a spicy one, and so all you need to do is take either pork belly or pork shoulder, cut it into thin, not really thin, it doesn't have to be, small pieces, and then we are going to marinate that in very simple Gochukaru, Korean chili pepper soy sauce marinade, and then we're going to let it sit in the fridge for a little bit, and then we're going to cook that in the oven. But right before we do that, we're going to add some garlic and some maesil, green plum extract syrup, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. It's this a recipe that I was not planning on making, but recently I had my family relative visit, my nephew's family visited, and his wife made this for me because this is what she does when to save time. So it's something that you can also make ahead, freeze if you need to. So it's a perfect recipe to have for if you have young kids, if you're a busy mom. It's a really an awesome dish to know. So I'm going to share that with you today. And then in my next video, I have another pork belly dish that you actually put it in a very simple brine, and then you oven grill that too. So let's get started. Let's get cooking.
Okay, so for this recipe, you really need just these 4 ingredients: Korean chili powder, gochukaru, 2 tablespoons, also equal amount of soy sauce, jinganjang, then some fresh chopped garlic, and then sort of that wonderful maesil cheong, the green plum extract. If you can't get that, if you can't buy it, there's a substitute recipe in text with apple cider vinegar, water, and some sugar. Okay, so what we're first going to do is going to mix the Korean gochukaru and some soy sauce, and it will at first be, feel a little runny, but the chili powder will soak up the soy sauce and kind of bloom up, and it will kind of become a paste. And the great thing here is that you can make actually a big batch of this and keep it in the fridge and use it for later. It won't go bad anytime soon. Or you can just make as much as you need and then mix it with the pork. So here I'm using a pork belly. You can also get like a pork shoulder or butt, cuts from any grocery market. The only thing I would say is just try to buy cuts that has a good amount of fat distributed throughout, because we're not going to add any oil when we cook this in the oven. So it's good to have some natural fat in the meat. So I'm slicing the pork belly. You don't have to slice it too thin, about 1/4 to like a 1/3 inch thickness. And we're going to slice them against the grain. And then we're going to mix everything together. And here I'm showing you a more closer view of how thick the pieces look. And this recipe is great in that you can actually just stop after coating the meat with that gochukaru soy sauce mixture and let that sit in the fridge for a couple days, or you can freeze it in portions, and I'll show you how I like to do that later. This is a great recipe to kind of have it in the freezer, and just whenever you don't have time or you don't feel like cooking something fancy, you can just totally defrost it and then cook it. Okay, so now that we have all the pork belly pieces cut, we're going to add the Gochukaru kanjang mixture. And yeah, as you can see, now it's just a total paste. And you're just going to have to do a lot of massaging, coating, because it's not easy. It doesn't happen right away, but just spend, a minute or so just carefully making sure all the pieces are coated with the lovely chili powder mixture. One thing to note is, depending on your preference of spice level, you could kind of increase the chili powder or use less. But by the way, the amount here is not going to be crazy spicy, so you can just totally start with that. So anyway, so I'm here. What I'm doing is I'm doing it in portions. This was about a pound of pork belly. If you want to use it later, I wrap it in parchment paper and then freeze it in portions like that in a plastic bag. That way, whenever you want, you just can take one out instead of having to defrost the whole thing. Or you can do individual bags like this here. So whenever you're ready, we are going to now finish off the seasoning with some freshly chopped garlic. It's about a 4 teaspoon. You can, of course, adjust to your liking. And here's my homemade maesil cheong, green plum extract syrup. I'm going to add about 4 teaspoons to about 5 teaspoons if you want a little hint of sweetness. This is not going to be sweet at all. You're just going to kind of taste a little bit of sweetness at the end, which I think is perfect. But you adjust it to however you like. Add more sweetness or less. It all will be great. Now you may wonder, can I just do it all together in the beginning? You can. If you're going to cook it right away, it's totally fine to do that. I just did it in steps in case you want to freeze it or use it later. It is kind of best to add the fresh garlic right before you cook it, just so the garlic flavor is still kind of fresh and it's sort of alive, I guess. So now when you're ready to bake, you want to preheat the oven at 375, and then you're going to spread out all the meat on the pan in just one layer. I know it would be nice if we can just plop it in there, but this is the best way to cook it all evenly. So once we kind of spend the time and do this, it comes out as if like you grilled it at the table, on a grill pan. So it's a great way to make a big batch, like for parties or big family. And here I actually did 2 different cuts. The left side is the pork belly and the right side is a pork shoulder and butt. So I put it in the oven. I cook it for 10 minutes, and then it comes out looking beautiful like this. And all you need to do at this point is you want to turn it over just so that every side is evenly cooked. So I'm turning all of the pieces over. You just need to do this once. So after 10 minutes at 375, you want to turn everything over. And then once it's all turned, you want to put it back in the oven, increase the temperature for 400 degrees, and then bake it, cook it for another 10 minutes. One thing though I noted when I tested different ovens, in the toaster oven it actually finished quicker. Like here, it was I did it, and 10 minutes was a little too much. So watch out for your oven, see how it goes. So I would suggest after the first 10 minutes at 400 degrees, what you want to do is check it maybe after about 5 minutes. Yeah, so this was like 5 minutes only in the toaster oven. And you see if I've left it any longer, it burned a little, but that's not too bad. And some people actually, I kind of love it. So anyway, that's it. That's all you need to do. And it's perfect on its own or with some rice. I love having it with some green onion salad, pamuchim. Slice some green onion, soak it in water, and then mix it with some salad greens, purple red onion, sliced thin, and tossed in a light dressing. I have a recipe for that in the description.
Okay, so you just got to see how easy it is to make this wonderful Korean spicy pork in the oven. So as you saw, all you need, I mean, I was almost kind of as a little too simple, right? But sometimes simple is the best. So you can make that Gochukaru red chili pepper marinade with just soy sauce, and then great thing is you can kind of stop there. If you want to make like a meal prep kind of thing, make a big batch, you can freeze it into portions. And then later on, you know, whenever you're ready to eat, just defrost and then add that garlic and maesil, green plum syrup. Also, you can do a substitute if you can't buy that syrup. So yeah, the great thing also is as long as you have some good quality Korean chili pepper, you don't need to go to a Korean grocery store to make this dish. You know, good soy sauce and chili pepper is really all you need. Everything else you can buy from, you know, your neighborhood grocery store. And but the flavors are very Korean. You can also adjust the recipe. If you like sweet, you can add, be my guest, add a little bit of sugar or more green plum syrup, but be careful, it has that sour taste. So don't use too much, then it's gonna become sour. So if you want more sweetness, you know, add honey or sugar instead. Okay, so yeah, that's, you know, that's how simple that recipe is, and you can adjust. The next one, as I said, I'm going to show you how to do a brined pork belly in the oven, and that's also amazingly simple to do. So be sure to watch that, be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching, thanks for cooking with me. See you next time, bye!